Kate found the perfect lawyer. She knew immediately that she was in good hands. But throughout the following weeks, she found herself struggling emotionally. She was anxious and nervous, so she called her lawyer, and while her lawyer was patient, whenever she hung up the phone with her, she never felt like her anxiety was relieved. So she called friends to talk it out, but she started to notice that those friends were starting to cut their calls short too. Kate thought she was probably a downer. And as her divorce progressed, Kate had to make a decision about where she wanted to live after the divorce. So she called her father to talk about what she thought she could afford. During the call, her father got angry that she was in this situation to begin with, and he said he was hanging up to call her husband and give him a piece of his mind. The call ended, and Kate wasn't in any better position to determine the appropriate price range for a new house. You see, Kate was having the right conversations, but with the wrong people. So often, people turn to the lawyers or friends to act as therapists or family members for financial advice. Throughout your divorce, there will come a time that you wish you had a professional to call to answer a question. The default response is to call your lawyer, but they aren't always the best person because while they know the law, they won't know whether you'll qualify for a refinance of your home, and they aren't mental health professionals. While you can get divorced without the assistance of any professionals, you do so at your own risk. It's like trying to self-diagnose and treat an illness. You're not a doctor and you shouldn't be treating yourself. The same applies here. You're not an expert, and the decisions you must make during your divorce can have lasting consequences. You need to form a team. And if you're thinking, I can barely afford a lawyer, how am I going to afford a team? Not every team member comes with a price tag, and the ones who do might save you more money in the long run than if you didn't bring them in. Some of these people can also play a very limited role. The point of today's lesson is you don't need everyone, but you do need someone. So how do you determine who those someones are? Who should be on your team? I've compiled a list of 10 professionals you might want to have in your corner. The professional paradigm will help you decide who you need. Remember, not everyone needs all of these people, but usually everyone needs a few during their divorce. The professional paradigm will look at what they do, what they will do as it relates to your divorce, their cost, and are they a necessary person for you to have? So let's jump in. The first person to consider is probably not much of a surprise. An attorney will know legal process, procedure, and the law. Your attorney will be your advocate and will negotiate an agreement or litigate in court. Their job is to protect your legal interests and rights. If you haven't already, sign up to receive my free downloadable guide on what questions you should be asking an attorney before you hire them. You can't afford to hire someone without asking these questions because not all lawyers are created equal. They also come with different price tags, but I can almost guarantee that the more contentious it is, the more your legal bill will be. So do you need one? If there are a lot of assets or the conflict is high or there's a custody dispute, you'll probably want to retain one. If you're afraid your spouse is hiding money, you definitely want one. On the other hand, if you can work out an agreement on your own, you may not need to hire a lawyer, but you should always at the very least have an attorney review any legal contract so you make sure that you're signing something that won't come back to haunt you later on. Next up is a mental health professional. This is a therapist who provides emotional support and tools to deal with stressors in your life. Their role during your divorce is to help you work through all of the emotions you may experience, from grief to anger. They're also going to be a lot cheaper to speak with than your attorney because usually your insurance will cover some portion of their fee. Personally, even if you've never gone to therapy, I think you should have the care of a mental health professional when you're going through a divorce. You need support, and this is your person. Also, if you're suffering from a greater mental health concern like depression or anxiety, they can get you the help you need to adequately address those issues. This next person isn't necessarily someone who would be on your team, but they could be a player in your divorce, so I include them anyway. A guardian ad litem, or GAL, is someone who is appointed to represent your child's best interest. If you can't work out custody or a parenting schedule, or there are major parenting concerns, a GAL might be necessary. They can help work out an agreement or report to the judge what they believe is in your child's best interest after getting to know your family. While sometimes the cost of a GAL can be on a sliding scale of what your income is, often the cost is shared between you and your spouse or comes out of the marital estate in some way. If you believe that a judge is going to have to decide custody, you'll probably need one appointed, but not every case requires one. Next up is a co-parent counselor. This person, typically a mental health professional, assists parents who struggle with co-parenting and making decisions together. Usually the conflict level is high and communication between the parents is problematic. The co-parent counselor works with both of you, so it isn't someone who you see for individual counseling. Their goal is to give you the tools to co-parent effectively, not just during the divorce, but also beyond. Sometimes insurance will cover this cost, and sometimes it's private pay. This isn't someone who is necessary in every case. And if parenting isn't an issue with you and your spouse, you can cross this person off of your list. Number 5 on our list is a mortgage broker. A broker is someone who hunts for the best rates from mortgage lenders. In your divorce, a mortgage broker can help you figure out what you can afford or whether you can refinance your home. You only pay them if you use them. They usually will make a commission when the loan closes. Whether you need one depends on whether you're buying or refinancing a home. If you think you might want to buy or refinance, meeting with one at the beginning of your divorce is a great way to get a handle on where you stand in qualifying for a loan. Keep in mind, often they will ask how much support you'll be getting post-divorce, and you may not have these numbers, but they can probably tell you how much you need to qualify, and these are numbers you can share with your lawyer. Next up is a real estate agent. We all know agents sell houses, and in your divorce, they can help you sell or buy a home. They can tell you what should be done to make your house more marketable, or they can provide a comparative market analysis to give you an idea of what your house could sell for. Like mortgage brokers, they make a commission so nothing is out of pocket to you. For number 7, I list an appraiser, which is a general term for someone who values assets. This can be someone who appraises your house to get a value for the divorce. It can also be someone who values a business if it's applicable, or even someone who values a pension. All of these appraisers are different people, and your attorney can help you decide which is important for your case. The cost of a home appraisal will be relatively minor, while the cost of a business appraisal could run into the tens of thousands of dollars. The last 3 are all similar but have slightly different functions. You may decide to use just one or a combination. Number 8 is an accountant. You know, your tax prep person. If you have one you work with, this will be an easy phone call to make throughout your divorce to pose questions about tax implications of certain things. For example, if you want to withdraw funds from a 401k, you should call your accountant to talk about what kinds of fees, penalties, and taxes you might have to pay if you do so. Your accountant can also talk to you about what your income might look like if you change your filing status post-divorce. Their cost is usually hourly, so you're paying just for their time as needed. Next up is a certified divorce financial analyst. They can have a similar function as an accountant, but they're usually trained in helping people through the financial implications of a divorce. They can run different budgeting and support scenarios so you can see ranges of what to expect. Your attorney might do something similar, but usually the CDFA professional will cost less than your attorney's hourly rate. And because they're financial professionals, they'll be able to provide a more complete financial analysis. They usually collect their fees much like an attorney asking for a retainer. Some might offer a flat fee rate. I find that a CDFA is the most helpful for people who have had little involvement in their finances during the marriage. They can really work with you to help you understand your financial future and budgeting. Last but not least is the financial advisor. This is another numbers person, but a financial advisor is focused on short and long-term planning goals by way of investing in retirement. If you're receiving money from your divorce, it would be useful to meet with a financial advisor to discuss what you should do with it. I'm guessing they won't tell you just to stick it in the bank. They may not charge for a consultation at all. Some are paid on commissions and others are hourly. If you already have an advisor, you definitely want to have a conversation with them about your divorce. And if you don't have one, this is a great time to find one to plan for your future. So that's a wrap. You now know the professionals who you might want to play a role in your divorce. I suggest you make a list of the people who you think you might need on your team and reach out to them early on. You want to be able to turn to them with questions as they arise. So remember, you don't need everyone, but you do need someone. And remember to breathe.